Welcome to another broadcast of the Lorain County Commissioners' General Meeting. Unless otherwise announced, meetings are held Thursday mornings at 9:30 at the Lorain County Administration Building, 226 Middle Avenue, 4th floor, downtown Elyria. These are public meetings, and as always, you are invited to attend.
The first thing on the agenda this morning is a proclamation proclaiming the week of October the 6th through the 10th as Mental Health Awareness Week. In the matter of declaring October the 5th through the 11th, 2003, Mental Illness Awareness, Awareness Week in Lorain County. Whereas new and more effective medications for severe mental illness are continually being developed, and genetic and innovative brain research and advances in early detection bring us closer to the cure, management, prevention, and severe mental illness. And whereas the recovery process has been expanded in areas of family involvement, ongoing realignment of best practice approaches and updated management care technologies, and whereas a new public awareness of mental illness and its effects on patients and their families is becoming more prevalent today and bringing down barriers to mental illness recovery and treatment one by one. And whereas mental health care is vital to overall health of every individual, and whereas President's new federal commission recently called for a nationwide system shift from traditional services to recovery planning services. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the Lorain County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim October the 5th through the 11th, 2003 as Mental Illness Awareness Week in Lorain County, to increase public awareness of severe mental illness and to promote greater understanding for those whose quality of life can be so profoundly diminished by the potentially disabled systems and these disorders. This is one program that is close to my heart. On behalf of the Board of Commissioners, I present this proclamation. Thank you. And thank you for all the work that you've done.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Okay.
Welcome.
Good meeting. Okay.
Did you want to make a comment? I think it might be appropriate, especially
Sure.
since you're
At the podium.
come to the microphone.
There's a microphone.
All three of you.
Oh, okay, sure.
I think maybe the public, I know that you've been here for a little while. Maybe, Maurita, you'd like to introduce the new director.
Thank you, Commissioner. This sounds stupid, but this doesn't sound on to me, is it?
Yeah, it's on.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I have absolutely no prepared remarks whatsoever, but I'll tell you from my heart. I've been a registered nurse and in the mental health field since 1956 at Ohio State. I never expected that I would also be a family member that would make me a part of the mental health field. But as a family member, with a struggling member who's doing quite well because of the mental health levy and all that it has given us in the county, I thank you from all those families that have a struggling issue with mental health. And I do want to tell you also that we are known throughout the state as being probably the highest on assisting the mental health people in our county. So you can be very, very proud. Bill Harper, who's standing next to me, has come to us from Cincinnati since January, since Amy retired. And our phrase for him is, Bill is the future of mental health. He's young, he's energetic, he's been in the trenches, he has all those MS, BS, whatever credentials. Yes, I say that knowingly. And he has hit the ground running, and he's not wearing us out, and we're not going to let him do that. So I thank you so very much.
Well, y'all know what the two farmers talking to each other, and they said, well, you know what BS is, and he said, but I haven't figured out what this MS thing is, and the other one said, well, that just means more of the same. But I'm grateful to be a member of the Lorain County community and to be working with a wonderful board of directors. Marita and Jim Herron, our officers, along with George Abram from Oberlin. Just great, after many, many years of working throughout the state of Ohio, to return to this area where I grew up is just a wonderful thing. I tell people that I feel like I've been Moses out in the desert for 29 years and I finally came back home. And so I'm really looking forward to working with everyone and appreciate all of your support.
Well, we appreciate what you're doing. You know, I've always said this mental illness has a stigma attached to it.
Yes.
People think, okay, mental illness, everybody's lonely, that's, mentally ill, but this is not true. Mental illness is just like a heart disease or cancer or anything else, any other disease. And it can be detected if, and medication really helps to solve the problem. Most times it's just a chemical imbalance in the brain. And I don't think that the public realizes that.
Yeah. There still is a lot of discrimination and prejudice against people with mental illness.
Right.
One of the things that we're working very strongly to improve is the number of people who have a mental illness and are recovering from it who are employed. Employment is extremely important to their recovery and their rehabilitation. And so that's a big emphasis of ours, and we're currently in the process of developing a new recovery center. And you've probably seen that in the paper. Will be known as the Albert Januzzi Center at the old shoe store, or the current shoe store. By the way, if you need some shoes, I'm sure they've got a good sale going on right now. But we will be taking that building over, and with a state capital grant, renovating that facility to help people recover and to obtain work. So good to be here. Looking forward to lots of good things.
And we're looking forward to your help with the new evaluation center and the Justice Center too. I think if mental illness is detected very young, like a lot of what we call juveniles that come into the domestic relations courts, if we can detect this very young, we can help them.
Yep.
And probably save lives if they're medicated properly.
No question. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk?
10:15, William Ogle, Director, Workforce Development Agency, will make a presentation to inform the public on the agency. At 10:30, Lynn Wallace-Smith, Supervisor Record Center, will inform the public on her center. At 11 a.m., there will be a continued public hearing on the Columbia Wastewater Treatment Plant, 110 Columbia Township. And at 2 p.m., a special meeting of the Subdivision Review Committee regarding Deer Creek Subdivision, Brownhill Township, will take place in the public hearing room. And then at 3 p.m. will be a special meeting of the County Planning Commission regarding the same thing. Under resolutions, job and family services bills,
So moved.
Second.
discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Investments,
So moved.
Second.
discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Appropriations,
So moved.
Yes.
Second.
discussion.
This one, transfers.
Oh, okay.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Transfers,
So moved.
I'll second.
discussion.
Yes. And number 2 of 18. Computer purchases. I didn't see anything in there from our IT director, and I didn't see the way it was worded. It looked like it was worded insufficient funds for computer equipment fund. And there was no explanation in there. My understanding is that we cut those funds in the budget in the beginning of last year. It says transfer, so maybe I missed the appropriation. I didn't see any.
The funds weren't cut, Commissioner. This is a special revenue fund versus the county general fund. It's specially funded. And what I believe I read here is that Mr. Bitleski is requesting additional money for computer equipment. I think that last word, fund, confuses things. He's merely asking for additional funding to the computer system account in this special revenue fund.
He's not asking for appropriation.
No, he's asking for a transfer of money from utilities to the equipment
We
account.
have allowed the various departments to transfer money into their computer accounts to purchase equipment. We just have not provided them with appropriations into those accounts to purchase equipment.
Okay, I didn't know if I missed the appropriation or not, so.
He's merely moving money. I agree with Mr. Cortez. It's a matter of not giving him additional appropriation, but merely moving appropriation from other accounts.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You okay with it?
Yeah.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Advances or repayments?
Can't see any. Was there any? I didn't see
Well,
any.
I want to move anyway. I want to take those advances and repayments, the repayments part.
Okay.
Take it back.
Okay. Requisitions?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Travel expenses?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy? Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Bills?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Authorize various personnel actions as indicated on the summary for employees within the jurisdiction of Lorain County Board of Commissioners.
Didn't see any.
There was a sheet that came over.
I have seen the sheet, but I also believe that the administrative, whatever his title is, what is your title?
That guy.
That you want to talk about some personnel issues to us in executive session. Am I understanding
Can
that
I
clearly?
see it? I didn't see it this morning.
I
Who's
don't
got
have-
it?
It came over right before the board meeting. I have a copy.
Well, I'm not sure if this is current. Anyway, did you want to speak to us?
Yes.
Yeah, where's the yellow one?
I don't have it on.
It was in the box out there.
Okay.
Okay, no, as long as I'll tell you what, you guys you're gonna request an executive session in personnel since we haven't seen this, or are we just gonna hold it off, or what do you want to do?
Well, I have an additional issue that needs to be discussed concerning an employee at the Lorain County Dog Pound. And I'll be requesting an executive session to discuss that, and also potential new hires. We have some hires on the sheet that we need to discuss.
Okay.
We'll just hold it.
Hold for an executive session.
Please.
Do you need this?
I'll just leave it here.
She's giving you the yellow one, I think. Can I have that one back?
Sure.
Thank you.
Under Commissioners number 10, approve the Lorain County Board of Commissioners meeting minutes and waive the reading of the same for June 19th, 26th, and July 10th, 17th, 21st, 24th, and 31st of 2003.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Notifying Lorain County Safe Harbor, Inc., DBA Genesis House, a shelter for victims of domestic violence. They are eligible for release of funds in the estimated amount of $80,000 in the year 2004, collected as part of marriage license fees and annulments, divorces or dissolutions, fees pursuant to ORC Sections 2303.201 and 3113.33 through 3113.39.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Accept the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorize the necessary tax levies and approve the alternate method, formula, and allocation of ULGF and ULGRAF and certified to the county auditor for the year 2004. This action, if approved, simply affirms the present general fund inside millage rates of 1.6 mil allocation to the general fund and 0 mils to the general obligation bond retirement fund. The board may initiate a change to the above rates until November 17, 2003.
So moved.
I'll second.
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Under Community Development Department, award various contracts to provide assistance for homeowners to be paid from 2002 CDBG formula activities. One is to Kilby Enterprises, Inc., North Ridgeville, in the amount of $2,885 to be paid from account 12602-2501-450422 for Susan Chapman at 5074 Bond Avenue in Sheffield Township. She will receive assistance with a new water line to all existing fixtures, 5 contractors requested proposals, but only 1 responded, this being the most responsive. 2, Father and Sons Lorain in the amount of $4,950 to be paid from account 12602-2501-450430 for Joan Ward at 43725 Middle Ridge Road in Amherst Township. She will receive assistance with a new septic system because sewers are not available in her area. And Lorain County Health District has determined that her system has failed. 5 contractors requested proposals, 2 responded, this one being the most responsive.
So move.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Under the Emergency Management Agency, rename Lorain County Emergency Management Agency to Lorain County Emergency Management Agency and Homeland Security Office. This will enable the county to receive Homeland Security grants.
So move.
Second?
Discussion.
Yes, I think Tom's here, ready to...
It's up to you, Tom.
You're ready to bite at the bit, so why don't you... He got dressed up, he's got a tie on, you know, it's like...
You too, huh?
Tom got one.
At least it's not in the middle of the field somewhere.
I know, hey, it's Thursday, you know?
That's true. Almost Friday.
I
now.
know. Tomorrow's a bath.
16. I have to watch this on TV. 16 months prior to the September 11th taxing on the United States, our office began the task of developing response plans at the county level in the event that this area was of a possible target or couldn't be involved in the effects of an event involving weapons of mass destruction. After September 11th, we've become the dissemination point for Homeland Security information that needs to be passed along to the local level from the state and federal government. We've also developed an annex to the County Emergency Operations Plan that addresses the terrorism event. We've also been able to facilitate the coming together of various organizations that normally don't communicate together on a regular basis. And that, to give an example, is one is the health department, and now was a secondary support group if we had an incident going, has now become a lead, especially in a biological event. They now talk to the fire departments and the police departments, which they didn't normally have to do prior to that. Under the charter of the Homeland Security Agency, emergency management has the responsibility of consequence management, which means at the local level, EMA is responsible to identify, acquire, and to plan for the use of resources needed to anticipate, prevent, or resolve a threat of terrorism. We've been very active in implementing the additional Homeland Security requirements, and over 50% of our office time is now directed towards Homeland Security requirements. This name change will identify these efforts and hopefully will provide us with a catalyst to receive additional grants in the future from the Homeland Security Agency. I'd be glad to try to answer any questions that you have.
I don't have any questions, but I just think your agency's been doing a very good job under your leadership, and I commend you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. Thanks.
Thank you, Tom.
Sure.
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Under Job and Family Services, approve and enter into Amendment Number 1 of the contract between Lorain County Department of Job and Family Services and Child Care Resource Center for health and safety training using child care quality funds effective October 9, 2003. This amendment is to reflect an increase in the contract value by $235, with the total contract amount not to exceed $5,405 to purchase required first aid books and binders for training classes. Authorize Mary Lou Golsky, Director, to execute contract on behalf of the Board with the prosecutor's approval as to form.
So move.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Authorize the purchase of children's art program from Oberlin Early Childhood Center, Oberlin, Ohio. Kids Smart, a traveling trope, in the amount of $40,449 using Lorain County Department of Job and Family Child Care Quality Funds, effective October 9, 2003 through June 30, 2004. Authorize Mary Lou Golsky, Director, to execute contract on behalf of the Board with the prosecutor's approval as to form.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Under Solid Waste Management Agency, authorize Lorain County Solid Waste Management District to partner with Century Tel, BFI, and Burger King to hold their annual telephone book collection from October 31st, 2003 through November 17, 2003. Authorize the following expenditures for advertising from account 20201-5302-49301 and BFI from account 20201-5302-490101 $460 to Adelphia Communications, $2,125 to WEOL Radio, $635 to WOBL, $325 to WJTB, $540 to BFI, for a total amount of $4,085.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Ms.
Does
Vacy?
Dan want to talk about it? I mean, well, I think we ought to give it a plug.
Dan Billman, B-I-L-L-M-A-N, Solid Waste Director for the county. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning, Dan.
We have been doing this program for a number of years now, and it's been a partnership between BFI, ourselves, and Burger King. Last year, our collections were 10.9 tons of books. So that's a significant amount of phone books. And this is actually a special collection only because the phone books are of a very low grade quality of paper, and they don't collect them with their other collections. They try to keep them out of the waste stream, because otherwise you have a contaminated bale, and the price goes way down on the recyclables, and it could get rejected from the mills. So that is why we are doing this year after year. It kept over 10 ton out of the landfill. I think this year we'll do a better job than that, hopefully. Anybody that's got a phone book can take it in. They'll accept it, and you buy a Whopper and get a Whopper. So it's an excellent program. I encourage everybody to participate.
I think those with Whoppers kind of encourage people to, don't they?
Yes, they're pretty good. Any questions?
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Under Workforce Development Agency, authorize clarification to term limits for various appointments to Lorain County Workforce Investment Board.
I think you need to read everything, Dan.
Teresa, do something for me. Call out there and ask Bill if the board members are, oh, here's Bill. Bill, sorry.
You have to call out there.
Yeah, I'll call you.
Carrie Green, you're here.
Are the board members being sworn in? Have they been, or are they going to be, or?
No, they've never been sworn
I think we need to swear them in. All board members should be sworn in.
Perhaps after we do this, he could do it collectively.
Okay, thanks, Bill.
No. These are all going to expire. Do we have limits on the terms?
Yes.
Where's it at? No, but what are they, 2-year terms, 4-year terms?
Oh, there you go, getting technical.
Well, I mean, they're all going to expire, and we're going to come up with this in the end of '04. I think we should find out now what the terms are going to be for the board members. I mean, is there something that you, well, you don't have to get up, I just.
Oh, yes, see, you make everybody else get up.
But Bill's going to be up there for a half hour.
No, Hal wants him to be over there so he can pick up.
I'm sorry, I guess the 5th commissioner's talking.
He's the one that has the camera.
I know.
In the bylaws of the Workforce Investment Board, it calls for 3-year terms. And to date, those terms have not been, adhered to. The Workforce Investment Board has been in existence, what, Jim, through about 3 years or so?
Yes.
2.5, 3 years.
Commissioners, their bylaws state 3 years. Under the prevailing regulations in the Ohio Revised Code, you are allowed to set the terms on those appointments. Even though their bylaws reference it 3 years, you're not obligated to appoint for 3 years. We went down the list as a housekeeping measure to establish the timeframes. We didn't want to see everybody expire or be appointed on the same date, so that there was some continuity in the board should people not seek reappointment, so that there was a continuation of experience on the board. I would recommend to the board somewhere down the line that you think about limiting the amount of reappointments so that you can revolve new community involvement onto the board. But that's your choice. Maybe a subsequent appointment and then a year off before you can seek reappointment. That would bring some new ideas to the board, so we're not closing out other community folks that want to be on the board from actively improving the situation in Lorain County.
We don't have anything like that set up now?
You don't, and you can establish that yourself as a working rule. We can put it in with the board notebook so that we use it merely as a guide, or you could establish it as a policy and procedure as you see fit. That's strictly up to this board. Jerry, you looked this issue over. Have I misspoken?
Then, Bill, you may have to have something in your bylaws in regard to that too, no?
That can be easily done. And there's one thing we have to keep in mind, 51% on the board must represent the private sector, private for-profit sector. And Mr. Cortez and I have been working on this to try to get the board to that level, and we're just about there right now.
What's
That's a requirement.
Bill, what's the BVR? What's the acronym?
Vocational rehabilitation. That's on the web. There are required partners.
What is it?
And BVR is one.
Bureau of
Vocational
Vocational.
Rehabilitation.
Okay.
With this compilation, then, are you at 51% or almost?
Almost. Need one more private sector, and that would put us where we need to be.
There is, okay, the ex officio members, okay, yes. It's just me babbling here. I just wanted to make sure that the commissioners used to be active board members, but since you now vote on everything that comes out of the board, it really had made little sense, and it was upsetting the balance and getting the private sector
Exactly.
percentages up with the three commissioners as the board members. So that's why we made it ex officio.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the term limits as identified in item number 18.
So moved.
For
Or second.
Further discussion? Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Under 19,
Wait,
approve...
excuse me. Betty, where did you see term limits on here, though?
Well, the term expiration date I was referring to. I didn't address the years, but behind each name is a term expiration date. I think, or maybe you would like to speak to that, but I think that you adjusted the term expiration together
Yes.
with Bill to reflect when they first came on board.
Yes, but I think Commissioner Vacy was speaking to term limits in the sense of how many terms they're allowed to serve before they would have to
Correct.
step down and wait out a period of time. That hasn't been established yet, Commissioner. You can establish it now, or we can establish it by just policy and procedure for when the next appointments are made. That's strictly up to the board. So however you would wish to address, or you could do it by resolution.
Do we need a resolution for it?
Well,
Yes.
Yeah, we do. Okay, so
Would you
would
like
you
us-
work on it with Bill and then come back and we'll do a resolution maybe next week or the week after?
And bring back one more private person, so we'll be in compliance.
we'll run out there and tie somebody up and bring them back.
That's just a good idea. Thank you.
Yes, we'll take care of that.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Bill.
Under 19, approve and enter into various purchase of service contracts between Lorain County Board of Commissioners and the Workforce Development Agency with the funding source available through the Workforce Investment Act. 1, Lorain County Community College Public Service Institute, Elyria, Ohio, for the operation of the Jobs for Ohio Grads in-school program in the amount of $99,822. The start date will be October 13, 2003, and will complete on June 30, 2004. Elyria YWCA Elyria for the operation of the Youth Services Program in the amount of $95,333. The start date will be October 13, 2003, and will complete on June 30, 2004. Linking Employment Abilities and Potential in Cleveland for the operation of the Job Link Program for 15 youth ages with disabilities. The contract amount is $33,189, effective October 13, 2003, and completion date is June 30, 2004. Volunteer Action Center of Greater Lorain County, Lorain, for the operation of leadership training services for youth ages 14 to 21. The contract amount is $32,494, effective October 13, 2003, and completion date is June 30, 2004. Lorain County Urban League, Inc., Elyria, Ohio, to operate the Opportunities for the Future program. The contract amount is $68,539, effective October 13, 2003, and complete on June 30, 2004. In Lorain County Domestic Relations Court, Leary, Ohio, for the operation of the Success for Youth program, contract amount is $16,250, effective October 13, to be completed on June 30, 2004.
So move.
Second.
Discussion.
I'd just like to comment that the total of these contracts is $345,627.
Ms. Vacy?
Excuse me, if I may, before you vote. Could we have just a bit of explanation as to number 1 and number 5?
Bill?
What sort of explanation would you like?
Just what is the program? Very brief.
Lorain County Community College Jobs for Ohio Graduates is an in-school program that deals with at-risk youth who are at risk of graduating from school or remaining in school.
Excuse me, high school?
High school.
Thank you.
Yes, that's in school. The Urban League, number 5, Lorain County Urban League will be, I'm going to find it here somewhere, is a mentoring program. They're going to it's opportunities for the future, a youth development program aiming at closing an achievement gap in education, providing in-school mentoring to help youth improve educational skills, teach workplace skills to help out-of-school young adults secure and maintain meaningful employment. There's going to be 50 youngsters served from 14 through 21 years of age.
Thanks, Bill.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Under Community Corrections Board, authorize various appointments to Lorain County Community Corrections Board. Therese Ward and Patricia Strauss, effective retroactive to January 1st, 2003, expiring January 1st, 2005. Bill Harper, Executive Director, Mental Health, replacing Amy Levin, effective retroactive to February 11th, 2003, expiring January 9th, 2004. Jeff Manning, Prosecutor, replacing Gregory White, ex officio office member. Lieutenant Jack Hammond, Sheriff's Office, replacing Doug Newman, effective retroactive to January 1st, 2003 through January 1st, 2005. And this was at the request of Judge McGuff.
Also move.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Yes, would you call and ask if these members have been sworn in also? Okay, thanks.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Under the engineer, approve and enter into subdividers and escrow agreement between Lorain County Board of Commissioners and Scott Dillon, Raintree Development Limited, for Finnegan Farm subdivision, New Russia Township. The developer has deposited in escrow at Statewide Settlement Services, Fairview Park, Ohio, an amount of $184,900 for this project and attached a certificate
Certificate.
certificate
We're
of
all
liability
tongue-tied.
insurance. The county
thank you.
engineer has reviewed and recommends approval.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Mr. Cordes, County Administrator?
With the exception of the executive session, no further comments or reports this morning. Thank you.
Mr. Ennis, Assistant County Prosecutor?
As long as we're going into an executive session, I do have an update on a litigation issue. If we have time, I'd like to get into that.
Commissioners report?
Commissioner Blair?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have the pamphlets for the October 17th Lorain County Community Alliance Summit, and I'd like to share them with anybody in the audience who wants one. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good for our county, and I'm very pleased that Bob Sokolowski, who is the Executive Director of the National Association of Regional Councils, will be giving the keynote address. I think there's a lot of good things for us to be learned that day, and I understand Commissioner Vacy's going to come and tell us about the bicentennial bell, and I hope that Commissioner Moore is going to
participate right there.
Okay? So, and the
I
other
just
thing...
write my name in on the pamphlet, you know.
Sorry,
No, that's
I didn't
okay.
even know it was going to be there, okay? I
Well,
spoke to
Republican there,
Rebecca,
that's okay.
and I said to her, we believe in cooperation.
No problem.
Okay, and then the other thing I'd like
It
to
looks
say
pretty
is...
with my name like that.
Here's a red pen.
That's
If you'd
okay.
like to put it, that's okay. And the other thing is that last week when I talked about the Black River RAP and the watershed and stuff, I said that we were waiting to hear about the watershed coordinator position. And I know that Ron Twining is really excited about this, but we got a call yesterday and we have received the grant. So I understand he's going to be talking to them this afternoon about how we implement the terms of this grant, but I'm very excited about that. So that's my report. Thank you, Madam Chair.
You're welcome. And talking about that bell, it's not just bicentennial bell, but we'll have the old bell there too with the assistance of the engineer. He's got both of them on the trailer, and what I'm trying to do is get everybody in the county that would like to ring that bell to ring it before it's in its permanent location, which will be at the new Justice Center. And there is a lot of history on that old bell. We are finding out more and more on the old bell that we just didn't know. And one thing that was kind of interesting to me is when we talk about the old courthouse, we talk about the courthouse that exists now. That is not the old courthouse. There was another courthouse there which was smaller than this one. And personally, what I thought was this old bell came off of the steeple of this courthouse, and when the steeple was torn down, I thought the bell came down with it, but that's not it. The bell was actually in the first courthouse, which was smaller, but on the same location as this one.
It was transferred then to that?
No, then it was given to
No, I
the
mean
church.
from the old one to what we call the old one. It was transferred into that building?
The bell?
Yes.
No, it was given to a church after the old courthouse was tore down. And then the church gave it to the Historic Society, and then they loaned it to the Board of Commissioners. But you could see, and Jennifer took some really good pictures of the old bell, and there's some drill holes in the top of it. And I believe in World War II they were going to use that to make bullets. And they found that it wasn't the correct material, so that saved the bell for us. But there's a lot of history to that bell, and even more, but we'll talk about that another time when I bring it out there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Moore?
I'm done.
I have a couple things. Jim, we're going to put security in the new Justice Center. I think the public should be aware of that. We're going to have it night security while it's being built. And just in case anybody has any thoughts in their head, weird thoughts, let's let them know that it's going to be secured.
Well, absolutely. We're, a while back, we had an incident of vandalism on the site. We didn't think security was necessary until we got to a point where the building was subject to more possible damage by pranksters and so forth.
Sure, now that it's enclosed.
Right. So we will be using off-duty sheriff deputies on the site after hours and on weekends to ensure that we don't have any further losses on the site. We'll be doing that up until, I think, the middle of November, towards the end of November, when we'll be able to lock the doors, so to speak, and button up the building. And then we'll reevaluate it at that point. But we will have on-site security, and we'll have very fine deputies doing that as an off-duty assignment.
I think it would help if the media printed something. It might stop some vandalism if kids are aware that it's going to be secured. Thanks. One other thing, the Fair Housing Board hasn't been able to meet for the last couple months because they can't get a quorum. And Jeff is still on there, and I think he can't make it from Mansfield to here. And then if one of the other members can't make it, because there's only 3 members on there,
He didn't.
they've been having a problem.
He didn't resign his position when he.
So would you check into that? Maybe we
I will.
need more members, or Jeff has to resign or something. And actually, that's all I have. Thank you.
Under old business, Approve and enter into contract between Lorain County Board of Commissioners and Humphrey and Cavanagh Insurance, Inc., Elyria, Ohio, effective for a period of 3 years, retroactive to May 1st, 2003 through April 30, 2006. The local agent will provide specified risk management services to the county and otherwise assist the county with its participation in Corsa.
So move.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Blair?
I will abstain.
Did any of you have any other old business? Should I
No.
ask before I read it?
I have none.
Okay. New business?
I have none.
Ms. Vacy?
I have none.
Can I indulge the board for a minute? I was going through my correspondence here, and I see a letter that was to you. You may not get to it, from Carlisle Township, and they'd like to participate in our life insurance program. We have received a very favorable ruling from the prosecutor's office. They are in our health insurance, and I would like to go out and be able to offer the life insurance, and I'd like to be able to have that done also at the community summit coming up, to let folks know that they can partner with us now on the life insurance also in our pool.
Good.
So if it's okay, agreeable with the board, I'll put this into motion. It'll come back to you when we do a contract with them, but I'll start the issue rolling, okay?
It's fine with me.
Do you need a motion?
When we bring it back, we'll bring back a contract like we do with the health insurance. We do it.
Right.
It's an intergovernmental contract, but I still think we need to do the contract to keep everything understood by the parties.
Okay.
So I'll bring that back, but I'm going to start working on this on behalf of the board.
Good.
Number 1, Thursday, October 16, 2003, 11 a.m. A public hearing will be held on the jail tax allocation.
Can we postpone this to October the 30th? Postpone the hearing?
May I ask why?
I think John wanted to discuss some issues with both of you.
I think particularly Commissioner Moore was not here last week, so I think to be fair to him,
Well, but
we
the
may
hearing
want
is
to
not
review
till
this
next
issue.
week.
Pardon me?
The hearing is not till next week.
But you may not want, he may decide not to have the hearing.
I just feel a little uncomfortable without Commissioner Moore being aware of.
Talk to me after the meeting.
Okay, that's,
Well, we won't have time to cancel this. If you set this date now.
We're not
it's
advertising
etched
it,
in
we're just
stone.
using it here.
You
so-
don't have to advertise for this. All you have to do is,
I understand that, but
Put it on the
there's nothing
agenda.
to us, if we decide not to have it, then we can just cancel it next week. I would prefer to move as expeditiously as possible.
yeah. Whatever the pleasure of the board is.
okay.
Number
It'll
2.
be up to you then.
I don't have a problem with next Thursday.
Okay.
Number 2, October 23, 2003, at 7:30 p.m. The Commissioners will meet at Lorain County Community College, 1005 North Abbey Road, Elyria, Spitzer's Conference Center. Therefore, no meeting will be held that day. Board correspondence.
I move the reading be waived.
Second?
Discussion. Ms. Blair?
Aye.
Mr. Moore?
Aye.
Ms. Vacy?
Aye.
Do we want to do public comment, or it's 10:20? Do you want to do the appointments first?
No, I think we should do Bill.
Mr. Ogle, Director of Workforce Development Agency? She's first, right?
Bill Ogle is the director of the Workforce Development Agency, and he's here to inform the public on what his agency does. Thank you, Bill. Oh, gee.
More?
You've even got a CD in here, Bill.
Yeah.
Real nice.
Really old CD.
I gave you quite a bit of information there. I'm not going to go through all of that, but I'll just highlight some of the information that's in there. Now, at the Workforce Development Agency, as you know, we are responsible for the administration of the Workforce Investment Act. We also are responsible for contracting, subcontracting with providers to deliver the services for the citizens of the county. Our largest contract is with our one-stop operator. And our one-stop career center, which is called the Employment Network, is responsible for the programmatic functions of WEA. Now, that program has been up and running for a few years now. It's one of the most successful programs, I believe, in the state of Ohio. Because as you know, a few years ago, we made the decision that we would remain a conventional county. And I think as time has gone on, we have seen that we did make the right decision.
And I just have to interject and say that that was your recommendation, and sometimes you had a difficult time letting people know that was your recommendation and it was the right way to go. Thanks, Bill.
Well, thank you. But you folks, you listened to me, and I appreciate that. In your packet, you'll see this form. This is the funds available that we have this year. In the first table at the bottom, far right, are the total funds that Lorain County has received for this program year, which began July 1st and ends June 30th of 2004. We're talking $4,922,000. Those dollars are for us to deliver services to youth, adults, dislocated workers. At the bottom table are funds available. As you see to the right, we have, and that's as of August the 15th, we have $4,495,000 available.
And Bill, you want to say where this money comes from?
This money comes from the federal government, Department of Labor. It's funneled through the state, through the Department of Ohio, the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services. These dollars have to be spent, we have to have 80% of these dollars obligated by June 30th, so we can carry those funds over into the next program year. And to date, we have been pretty successful in spending our money and serving the citizens of the county. We normally serve, not normally, but we have been serving for the past few years approximately 7,000 to 8,000 people who come through the doors over there at the Cook's Building. And these people avail themselves of many services. I'm not going to go through all of them. It's in your packet on this green long form. Highlights all the services that we offer and the services that the folks are going through there at the Career Center. One of the other large projects we're involved in is our youth program. As you know, a few months ago that we employed an individual to assist us in our youth programming to make it a little bit more efficient than it has been in the past. We are hopefully going to be revamping our youth program. I've talked to Mr. Cordes about this to bring our program in line with our one-stop. We're looking at creating a one-stop program for our youth instead of the way we're doing it right now. With all the different programs we have out there, we feel we need to bring this into one central area in our one-stop, and by doing that, we feel that we're going to be able to serve more youth and serve them in a more effective way. Next Friday, we have a WIB meeting. Hopefully, we're going to have one of the representatives from Columbus, ODJFS, in to talk with our WIB, so we can talk with them about the incumbent worker problems. As we all know, with Marconi going down and with the Ford plant talking about leaving, REP, and the many layoffs we've had in the county, there's a lot of incumbent workers out there who are going to need training and need to be retrained for different jobs, because obviously the jobs that they're in now, they're not going to be in that much of a demand. So hopefully we can get this going, get over some of the hurdles that we have to. We can be able to assist our businesses who are here right now in retaining their employees and assist the folks who are going to be losing their jobs in the future. Also, in your packet, you have a provider narrative. It's the green here. That gives you an outline, a narrative of all the youth programming we have going right now, including the ones that were approved today. About what they're going to be doing, the number of kids they're going to be serving, etc. Basically, that's it. I'll, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to.
Yeah, Bill, this
Yes.
white sheet that you gave us
Yes.
lists some of the different programs. And I was looking at the one where it has paralegal and police academy. Does the college have that now? It's listed under...
That's in this one right here?
Yeah, it's listed under the college.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
Well, that's great,
Yes, they do.
because when I studied paralegal, I had to go to Cleveland.
Yeah.
We didn't have any place
Yeah,
out
they
here,
have it here
and
now.
the college is doing it now.
And
And
this
even the
form
police
is-
academy.
What this is, this says ITAs approved. That's the individual training accounts. And these represent the people who are in training at these institutions here.
I just wish more of the attorneys in Lorain County would hire paralegals. The only jobs for paralegals seem to be in California. Sorry.
Yeah.
But
Well, when there's a demand, one thing we don't do, what we try not to do, is to train folks for jobs that aren't there.
yeah,
It's just a waste of money and wasting their time. So we try through assessments and testing to make sure that, number one, that the person has the aptitude for that job, and the job is somewhat in demand in this area or in the Cleveland area.
I think Cleveland hires more paralegals than Lorain County.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Thank you. Is there any questions for Bill?
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Lynn
Lynn,
Wallace
yeah.
Smith.
Are you ready, Lynn? Lynn is the director for the Records Center, and she's here to inform the public in regards to what her agency does.
Good morning. My name is Lynn Wallace Smith, and I am the supervisor of the Lorain County Commissioners Record Center. And I'm here today to give the commissioners an update, as the public, an update and current status of our record center and a little bit of what we do. I would like to make this presentation interactive, so please feel free to ask questions or provide comments at any time. Especially when the pictures are loading, because it takes a while, so if someone wants to ask any questions, it's great. Our record center currently has 3 full-time employees, including myself. There's also Deborah Burgess-Barber, hired in April of 1999, and William Wells, who was hired in April of 2000. I'm going to give you a little outline of myself and my experience in records management, and then an outline of the history of the record center. I'm Lynn Wallace Smith, and I'm an experienced background in records management included 10 years in the records management department as vital records supervisor in the private business of banking. I'm a member of the Association of Records Managers and Administrators. I'm a state of Ohio notary public, and I was hired in this position in February 1998 as supervisor to organize and establish a functional county record center for the purpose of record storage and retrieval for any county office, agency, or department. The Lorain County departments, agencies, and offices currently maintain millions of documents in a variety of formats. Most are paper and contain information of administrative, legal, fiscal, or long-term historic value. Because the majority of records are a result of mandated services, a good records management program is essential. Without a sound records management strategy, records will begin to occupy valuable space, are stored in insecure, inaccessible locations, and are disposed of carelessly. And the purpose of the Record Center is to alleviate these management concerns by providing the following. To provide an economical, centralized record storage center, timely records retrieval, facility security, document processing and preserving, and the legal disposal of the semi-active and inactive records generated as part of the business of county government. Also, to provide a comfortable and accessible environment for patrons to view public records and conduct research. These are a couple of researches. I just also wanted to say that historic records show us a part of an ever-changing world, and we are literally changing history every day. Government records are important because they are of great value to the state and its citizens. They are necessary for conducting government business. They preserve our heritage by documenting our historic people, places, and events, and they are frequently used for research and investigations. As government agencies, we take on the many responsibilities that come with holding and managing these vital documents. We need to be able to recognize the value of specific records and to undertake all the activities required to maintain an archives. These activities include acquisition, appraisal, description, preservation, storage, and retrieval of the records. I was interviewed for my current position here. I think it was in October of 1997, and my interviewers actually painted me a pretty dark picture as to what the Record Center was, the condition of it was. I didn't actually get a chance to see it until I was hired in February of 1998, and I thought about when I first walked in, I thought, okay, maybe I should walk back out and come back in again because this must be a dream. No, really, I mean, I knew I had my work cut out for me, and the following pictures represent kind of what I walked into. And then, yes, you did. Yes, you did. Actually, this is even after a lot of the cleanup had already taken place. Getting the records separated as to what we needed to keep and what was ready for disposal and going through the paperwork and all that. So I'm just going to go through these pictures here. Those are all the auditors and treasurers' books that needed to be separated. They were all thrown in together on some shelves and in all kinds of different rooms. It was crazy. And these are the wood shelves we needed to tear down because we were preparing for our installation of our Space Saver mobile shelving. I got some pictures of that later. There was a lot that needed to be done. We had to separate all the books into years and then in book number order because we had all those microfilmed. So all these books are put on microfilm for research. This is what our records look like, the keep records, after boxing them into our standard size boxes and labeling them correctly and getting them ready to put on our shelves. And the longest part of the project was the construction, the renovation of the center. But this was good because it gave the staff and I time to learn more about the different departments, meet the staff. During the renovation, they had to put in a sprinkling system, fire alarm, ramp installation, tearing down walls, painting shelves, work areas prepared, removal of debris. And I have to give a lot of credit to the maintenance department. They put in a lot of hard hours, long hours working over there, day in and day out. I know they probably got tired of seeing us, but move the records here, move the records there, and back and forth. During the planning process, we took an inventory and identified all the records in their departments, got to meet the department staff, learning each of their functions. Being new to the public sector, this was very important for me. And with the assistance of administration and the Records Commission, I was able to familiarize myself with the paperwork process required by law for public records in the state of Ohio. The staff and I were able to visit 3 other record centers for the purpose of shelving, micrographic imaging equipment, and records management software research that would work best for this department. Also, we developed policies and procedures to be utilized by the departments that wanted to use us, and developed a location and box numbering scheme for the boxes stored. And finally, in August of 1999, with the great support of commissioners, administration, everything was implemented and organized and ready. We were able to start accepting new incoming boxes of records for storage and document processing. And the next slides are what our record center looks like now. These are some of the books. believe those are domestic relations. This is our microfilm gem track storage center. Holds over 10,000 rolls of film if all the drawers were filled, but they're not, so. This is what our shelving looks like now. There's a view of a row of our boxes. This right here is an area I use for destruction. We also do destruction services for any department that wishes to use us. They necessarily don't have to have their records stored with us, but they can bring them over and we can get them destroyed for them as long as all the paperwork is in. It's been signed and approved. And this is our oldest book in the house. That don't look very good. 1824. It's an auditor's tax duplicate. And this is the inside of the book. This right here is our reader printer. We research microfilm and fish on that and are able to take copies to provide for the public or for departments requesting stuff off of their microfilm. This right here is my favorite machine. This is our Kodak 990D. It's a micro imager. It scans files and also microfilms at the same time, which is a very good disaster recovery plan, because we can take one roll of film and store it off-site with the department in case anything ever happened to our building. We always have that record. An important part about that, I just spoke to Christine in the coroner's office. We are doing their records, scanning and filming them, and she needs to bring her records over. We're all caught up with what she has over there already. And she's like, there was a fire in that building or somewhere nearby where she was at. And she's like, I tell you, Lynn, we need to get them records over there because there's no other backup of them, you know. This is a view of all of our equipment here. The jukebox, our microfilm scanner. That jukebox right now has housed over it over 1 million images that we have done. We're able to retrieve files in a matter of seconds. Some of our records management tools include the schedule of records retention and disposition, and those are the RC forms 1, 2, and 3. This paperwork has to be approved through the Records Commission, Ohio Historical Society, and also the state auditor. Computerized tracking of records, regardless of the form of media. Micrographics and imaging services, which include filming, film developing, and duplicating. And this is a picture of our Kodak ProStar 2. It develops film, and we also provide services to other departments that do their own filming. We process their film to eliminate the outsourcing of that. And some of the benefits of the center include microfilming of records to reduce space, protect vital records, and provide off-site disaster recovery. Secure records destruction per the Ohio Revised Code. And this is William. He is standing by a drawer of microfilm, and in that drawer that he's standing by, just to give you an example of how much space we save, is over 120 of those big books stored in that one drawer.